Yo, what's up, y'all? It's the MMA Analyst. I'm here to do my picks for UFC 98. Very, very good, great, amazing main event. Um, Machida got his title shot. It took, the heavens to fold and the earth to rumble and shake, and injuries and replacements and all types of fate had to happen, and everything came together. And Lyoto got a shot. There was no other choice. A lot of people think I don't like Lyoto Machida. It's not really true. I'm not his greatest fan, but I do recognize his great talent, his vast abilities, and his fighting skill. So with that out of the way, with all that out of the way, let's start right from the top and work my way down the card. The main event, the light heavyweight title between Rashad Evans, who is the champ, defending it for the first time against Lyoto Machida. This is going to be a crazy fight. This is the first time there's ever been undefeated fighters, both in the main event. Rashad Evans was the first time somebody was undefeated that fought for a title. I don't know if that includes like Gracie, man, back in the day, because I know he was undefeated. But anyways, let's not even worry about that. Let's start with Rashad Evans. Rashad Evans, he's with 13 wins, no losses. He's got one draw against Tito Ortiz. Yo, let me just say this real quick about Tito Ortiz, all right? Because he's getting a lot of flack, you know what I mean? There's a lot of people talking junk about Tito. I've never been a real big Tito fan, but let's take a real serious look at Tito Ortiz's losses. He lost to Lyoto Machida. We all know that. Everybody that fights Lyoto Machida has lost to Lyoto Machida. He lost to Chuck Liddell. I mean, Chuck Liddell is the perfect guy to beat Tito. Tito will never beat Chuck. And, Chuck's that dude. He lost to Randy Couture. And then, back in, 1999, he lost to Frank Shamrock. What is all the talk about? He also had a draw against the current champ, Rashad Evans. So, what's all the hate about? He beat Forrest Griffin, who was the champ. He beat Vitor Belfort, who's handling his business. The hate is unwarranted. I do believe I know where it's coming from. I'm not going to say any names, or that's it. But anyways, Rashad Evans, his only flaw was against Tito Ortiz. A lot of people said he would have won the fight. Tito would have won the fight if it wasn't for grabbing the fence, but if he didn't grab the fence, maybe he would have got taken down, and the whole fight would have changed from that point on anyways. You know what I mean? It was a close fight. All right. He beat Forrest Griffin in a fight in which, Rashad Evans doesn't really win rounds. He wins fights. He a lot of the times he'll lose every round up until the point where he wins the fight. And that's because he's not trying to win rounds. He's trying to gauge what's going on. He's trying to time his opponent. When you're timing opponents, you know what I mean? They might get things off. They might be able to do their thing while you're setting up your thing. And that's what Rashad Evans does. Against Forrest Griffin, he lost. I believe he lost the first 2 rounds. Forrest Griffin was coming at him. Rashad Evans was trying to do his thing, trying to counter, and then bam. That's where it all went. It was all over. Chuck Liddell, he lost the first round, and he was losing. Actually, no. He was winning that second round because he was starting to tag him. But really, in the second round, he hit him 3 times. The first time, where he just grazed him. The second time, where he actually hit him. And then the third time, when he laid him out. And then, so that's that. Michael Bisping, that was a split decision, close win. But, he did beat Michael Bisping. I think that was Michael Bisping's best fight. So, that was a good fight. But before that, he got a win over Sean Selman, where it's basically the second nastiest high kick, head kick KO in the UFC's history. First one goes to Gabriel Gonzaga over Crow Cop. So Rashad Evans, from the time when he came on the Ultimate Fighter show and won that, and was just a wrestler, from the time where he was just a small dude that Dana picked every time to lose and thought he wasn't as hard a worker he came from that point, improved everything. Striking is great now. Damn, choking. Striking is great. Still as explosive as he ever was. Wrestling still as good as it ever was. Now he's got great footwork. The dude's a world beater. People didn't think he would beat Chuck. I did pick Chuck over Rashad Evans. Rashad Evans is a wrestler. He's going to come out. He's going to try and take him down. Nope, that's not what happened. Wrong. That's not what happened. He came out. He used his hands. He boxed. And his boxing is looking good. He's got one of the best knockouts in the UFC history with overhand. And then he's got like probably 2 of the top 10 biggest knockouts in UFC history. And that's the wrestler, Rashad Evans. Fighting out of Michigan. Out of Michigan, training with Jackson Submission Fighting. So, that's that. Now on the other side, we've got Lyoto Machida. Now, Lyoto Machida, sometimes I used to call him, I used to say Lyoto puts the cheetah in Machida, if you know what I mean, because he does move. He is fast. A lot of people used to say he's elusive. The reality is he's evasive, but it doesn't matter because he doesn't get hit. He goes out and he beats people. I probably used my heart a little because at the time I really wanted Lyoto to lose a fight just because I was tired of how you can let people get to you. There are so many people that are on the bandwagon that was just hurting me. Somebody shut these guys up. And I think I picked Thiago Silva to beat him because he's aggressive, but I forgot that he's not as smart as he should have been. Lyoto Machida came out and just picked apart a guy who walked up to him with his hands down do 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 do, and just ate him up, ate Thiago Silva up, and saved the day. Because if he didn't knock out Thiago Silva early in that fight, then that card would have actually gone overtime, and then the main event we wouldn't have seen it all because the pay-per-view would have been cut off. So Dana White was loving Lyoto Machida that night. But he beat Tito Ortiz. He almost got tapped in the end, but prior to that, he was putting on a pimp slap fest. He was going out there doing whatever he wanted. My issue with Lyoto Machida has always been that if he wanted to, he could probably finish every fight in the first round. It's kind of there's definitely a double standard because Anderson Silva's the same way. You know what I mean? But he's just a little more he'll sit back and make sure he doesn't make any mistakes. And in his last 2 fights, people were real upset with Anderson Silva because they're used to seeing something. But even if they weren't used to seeing something, if he came out and did what he did in the last 2 fights for every fight, then people would be upset. Now, the difference between Anderson Silva and Lyoto Machida is Anderson Silva was playing around, and it's actually worse that way because Lyoto Machida has a game plan. He sticks to it. He does his thing, and he takes it serious. And Anderson Silva, he has a game plan. He sticks to it, but when push comes to shove, he will do some dumbass stuff in the cage. So these guys are very similar in their counter-striking mindsets. They're not going to make the mistakes, So Lyoto Machida, he goes out, he waits for you to make a mistake. I've always said this, people. This is what happens with Lyoto Machida. What happens is this. You come at Lyoto Machida backs up. You stop, Lyoto Machida hits you and backs up. And that's how it works. It's not very often where you come at Lyoto Machida and he moves and hits you. There's no head movement jab, head movement kick. It's more backs up. You see this right here. That's the club move, the Yoto. And then step to one side, step to the other side. Right? I'm not disrespecting. That's what he does. That's what I'm saying. Bam, and then pop. That's it. And then you get hit in the face. You're like, frick, I got hit again. So he took Tito down at will. He smashed him up, kneed him up, almost got submitted, didn't, got out of it, won the fight, undefeated, no draws, knocked out Thiago Silva with a quickness, tapped out Sokoju with ease, beat Nakamura. That's a fight where he could have won, but he said that he was sick. And he must have been something, because that's a fight he definitely could have won quicker. I will say the only flaw on his very good-looking resume is that fight with Vernon White. Do not ever watch the fight with Vernon White if it, you know what I mean, if you want to see anything other than the worst fight of all time. That might be one of the worst fights of all time. Vernon White was like, no, absolutely not. I will not chase you. And little Machida was like, okay, that's cool. We're just going to stand here then. And that's all they did, really, for like 15 minutes. Like, other than like those early UFC fights when they had like, you know, no round length and people could literally just lay on each other and try and tire each other out by like, you know, laying on the sternum or something like that. Like, fights didn't get that bad. Fights just, it's impossible. But it happened. But anyways, what's going to happen in this fight here? You know, I've spent a lot of time with these two. It's a big card. I mean, it's a big fight. I'm going to spend time on it. Lyoto Machida, we all know. He's a karate dude. He's got speed. Rashad Evans, he's a wrestling dude. With strikes now, he's got speed. They're both very strong. I do believe Rashad is stronger. They're both very fast. I don't know who's faster. It would appear like Lyoto Machida is faster. He's got the faster name. But, you know, who knows? Like, this is going to be a crazy fight when it comes down to, like, what actually happens. I believe there's two things that could happen. Not two things that could happen. If one guy wins, the fight's going to look like this. If the other guy wins, the fight's going to look like that. Here's the thing. If Lyoto Machida wins this fight, I do believe it will be a 5-round, extremely boring decision. Rashad Evans is not the dude that is going to come after people and just go crazy or with his hands down or not be like it's not like he's just going to come forward stupidly or he's going to come forward with his guard down or he's going to just run up and get hit in the face. He is a counterpuncher himself. So when he decides to punch, it's just going to be like little feeler jabs and like a little hook or a little overhand, but it's not going to be like he's not going to be coming in running after him. And Lyoto Machida is just going to stand back, move away, throwing a kick, hit him. You know, he might land like 5-6 punches around, might land 4 or 5 kicks around. Rashad Evans might land a little less, and then every round goes that way. And then maybe the 4th round, Rashad starts trying to get takedowns, and he gets stuffed. And then maybe he might get a takedown, but nothing happens because, you know, Lyoto's got really good ground game. I believe that's how a win for Lyoto Machida would look. I do not think that whatever would happen in a Lyoto Machida win would get a lot of fans. I really don't. If Lyoto Machida does win this fight, I don't think that he's going to, like, go home with the, like, fight of the night, knockout of the night, submission of the night, or even not the boringest of the night award. I do believe that because of their styles and because of what Rashad brings to the table and because of what Lyoto brings to the table, like, this is one of the worst clashes of style, I believe, when it comes to excitement. The only fight where I see would be probably worse, except for the fact that, you know, at this point in his career he'd get knocked out by Lyoto, is Liddell versus Lyoto Machida. If it was Liddell versus Lyoto Machida like 3-4 years ago, then it would have been similar to like standing around and Liddell walking around like, I'm going to hit you soon, and then Lyoto Machida like, when's he going to try and hit me, and then that's all they do. But that's if Lyoto wins. If Rashad wins, I think it'll look kind of like the Lyoto fight, winning until Rashad catches him. And I do think that's what's going to happen. Lyoto Machida, as good as he is, I do believe that some of the hype may be a little bit unwarranted. Just a little bit. Up until now, in his UFC run, he beat Sam Hoger. We know he's nothing special. David Heath, same thing. Nakamura, same thing. Remy Sokoju, he had 2 big wins in Pride. Everybody thought he was going to be the next whatever, and then he ended up just being like the gas machine. And by that, I mean the opposite of having gas. So I guess he's like the opposite of the gas machine, but he's the gassing machine. I don't know. Then we got Tito Ortiz, who he beat, which was a good win, and then Thiago Silva. So in those fights, really, he hasn't beat anybody crazy. The best guy he beat was Tito, and then other than that, he beat a lot of unranked guys. I think Sokoju was ranked number 10 on Sherdog when they fought. On the other hand, Rashad Evans, he beat Forrest Griffin, who was the champion. He beat Chuck Liddell. He knocked him out. He beat Michael Bisping, who is a lot of hype. But other than that, he hasn't really beat a lot of guys. He did beat Stephan Bonner. I just think he beat the tougher competition. I think what's going to happen in this fight is Rashad Evans is going to lose 2 very boring rounds. 2 very boring rounds, and maybe even 3. I do believe it's going to be tough for Rashad to catch him in the 4th, so that's why I'm saying maybe. Most likely, Rashad will catch him in the 3rd. Rashad will do a lot of movement, a lot of head movement, a lot of coming in. Like, as I'm saying this, it's not really ringing real in my head. Like, I'm saying it, but I'm not really believing it. You know what I mean? I'm not really believing it. I'm thinking, like, instead he'll lose 5 really boring decisions. Like, as I'm saying it, I'm like, is he really going to catch him? Like, what's going to change between round 1 and round 2? Is Machida going to get any slower? Probably not. Is he going to get as stupid? Is he going to decide to change his game plan? Absolutely not. So, I'm thinking to myself, is Rashad really going to catch him? And then I'm thinking to myself, I think he'll turn it up. And I think Rashad does actually have that aggressiveness when he needs it. And I don't think he'll get caught because of it. Y'all actually seeing me think right now, because I've been thinking about this. I went back, I watched all these guys' fights, and I'm just thinking, like, I'm sorry if this is taking a long time, but this is a tough-ass fight. This is literally the toughest fight to pick that I've had. Let me think. Give me like 10 seconds. It's like poker, you know what I mean? And someone put the clock on me, and I'm sitting thinking about whether I should make the call. Alright, y'all. This is what's going down. Rashad Evans loses rounds 1, 2, and 3. No! Frick! I just don't believe that he's going to go out there and get ran up on for 5 rounds, because that's what I'm about to build up. He loses round 1, loses round 2, loses round 3, then he realizes, oh snap, I got to do something. Because if I don't do something, I'm literally going to lose this title without hitting this dude. I'm going to lose the title without hitting Machida. So then he's going to come out aggressive. And being real aggressive against Machida is not the smartest thing to do. So then he's going to come out round 4 and get beat up, come out round 5 and get beat up. And then he's going to lose a big-ass 5-round decision. And that's what's going on in my head right now. I'm not even the biggest Rashad fan, so I don't know why I'm fighting that so much. But then something on the other side is saying it's not going to go down like that, man. You know what? Look, y'all. This isn't even going with the heart. This is just going against the head. That's what my head's telling me. But I'm not going with that because I just don't believe it. I do not believe it. This is what's going down. Lyoto Machida is going to have to show me. Lyoto, show us all. Show us all why you're the dude. Okay? Show us all why you are the dude. Because if you come out here and you beat up Rashad Evans like I just said, what's going on in my head, and that means this guy is not going to lose the title in a long, long time. So, switching it up, bringing it back. Rashad Evans, 3rd round knockout. Let's move on. That's a tough fight, man. That's a tough fight. If I were y'all, I would not bet on that fight. All right, let's go to the next fight. Matt Hughes versus Matt Serra. Matt Hughes, we all know the greatest, welterweight of all time. You know that craziness. He is definitely a very talented fighter. He's a wrestler. He's a better fighter than he is character, or whatever you want to say. The dude really, if you ever want to see somebody expose themselves, read his book. He wrote a book that was supposed to be like about me, and it's kind of like an expose that you would have to like get somebody else to like like turn on him. Like, yo, what, you used to be with Matt Hughes? Yeah, yeah. You got any dirt on him? Like, that's the kind of book it is. I didn't read it. I just read some excerpts from it. Now it's like, wow, this guy doesn't know what makes people look bad and not. But anyways, Matt Hughes, really, the dude is, he hasn't really lost to anybody in a long time that wasn't a world beater. He lost to Thiago Alves, who is definitely the number 2 welterweight in the UFC. We'll talk about that later. George St. Pierre, the number 1 welterweight in the UFC. George St. Pierre again, and then his last fight before that was back in 2004 when he lost to BJ Penn. In the middle, he choked out Triggs, rear naked choke, Hoyce Gracie, that was embarrassment. Chris Lytle, just he's doing his thing, and he's only lost to the best. He's got 42 wins or 43 wins and 7 losses. He's been fighting for a long time. Only 2 things on his record that are questionable is why can't he beat Dennis Hallman? You know what I mean? Dennis Hallman, he cannot beat Dennis Hallman. Lost to him twice. He's a great wrestler. People know what he is. Has he slowed down a little bit over time? Of course he has, but has he slowed down to the point where, like, he shouldn't be around anymore? I really don't think so. I've never been a fan of his. He does have one of the greatest wins of all time, and that was the second fight against Frank Trigg when he got hit in the balls, damn near knocked out, beat up for like 2.5 minutes, and then just carried dude across the cage, just slammed on the other side, and then choked him out rear naked choke again. One of the best fights of all time, in my opinion. But never been a big fan, but he is what he is. He's good. And I think he can still fight if he wants. Losing, he's kind of like in a Rich Franklin situation. Like, there are 2 guys better than him in this division. Well, should he quit because of that? I don't know. I don't think so. Anyways, he's fighting Matt Serra. Matt Serra, this guy's lucky that he's got, not lucky, he's got the jiu-jitsu. Serra jiu-jitsu is very, very lucrative for him, so that's very good. Because if he was depending on fights, then he would never get a paycheck. Since 1999, he's put together 14 fights. You know what I mean? He's not even fighting. He's like fighting 1 fight a year, basically. Bad math, but you know what I'm saying. He lost to George St. Pierre. He beat George St. Pierre in the upset of probably UFC history. He beat Chris Lytle. He lost to Carl Parisian. He lost to BJ Penn. No pain in that. But we're talking like BJ Penn was back in like 2002. He lost to Dean Thomas, and he lost to Shoney Carter in a fight that he was winning until he lost, and he did lose it. Spinning back fist, one of the biggest highlights in UFC history. Anyways, Matt Serra is really good on the ground with jiu-jitsu. Matt Hughes is really good on the ground with wrestling. Matt Serra's stand-up is better than Hughes' stand-up. Hughes really doesn't have any stand-up. However, Serra is probably not afraid to go to the ground with Matt Hughes. The fight will go to the ground, and I don't think that Serra is going to be able to submit him. I believe what will end up happening in this fight is 3 rounds of Matt Hughes smothering and just, kind of controlling Matt Serra. I think that's how the fight's going to go, really. I don't think it's going to be anything too special. There's certain guys that aren't going to get stood up in the UFC, Matt Hughes is one of them. Matt Hughes, if he decides to take the fight to the ground, referee's not going to work. I need you guys to work. He's going to sit back and chill out. Same thing with Randy Couture. If you take somebody to the ground, or he's laying on him and he's doing some, whatever, or dirty boxing up against the cage, break it up, guys. I'm going to put you in the center of the cage. None of that. These guys can do what they want. I do believe Matt Hughes will get it to the ground. He's not going to be able to. He's not going to be able to George St. Pierre, Matt Serra, which is basically beat the F out of him, and then make the guy quit or make the ref jump in and say enough of the madness. But I do believe that he'll be able to take 3 rounds, all 3 rounds, in the decision. And I think, Hughes is probably not going to retire, and I do think Serra will. But like I said, Serra's got his thing going on. Hughes does too, but I'm just saying. Luckily for these guys, or like not luck, like these guys work hard, but for these two guys, like fighting is not where they make their money. They just happen to like to fight, and that's good. That's what a lot of guys need to figure out, because when they're done fighting, where they're gonna get their money. All right, next fight: Drew McFedries versus Xavier Fuva Pokum, or Professor X. It's a lot better. I'm gonna keep this quick. Drew McFedries is a stand-up dude, and by that I don't mean I know how he is character-wise. I mean I know how he fights. He likes to stand up. He likes to throw punches, and that's it. And he's lost a lot of fights. He's only fought 12 times, but in those 12, he's lost a lot of times recently. Since 2007, he's got 4 losses and 2 wins. His 2 wins have been over Marvin Eastman and Jordan Radev. His losses have come by submission. He was submitted by Talis Latis. He was submitted by Mike Macenzio. Both of those fights, I did pick anybody that could submit him, which that would have been those guys. He was submitted to Martin Kampman, and he got knocked out by Patrick Cote. He is one of the most, the 7 wonders of the MMA world. There's the 7 wonders. So the natural 7 wonders will be like Royce Gracie's gi, and Dan Severin's mustache. And I'm gonna put these together. I probably just gave away a real good idea, like the 7 wonders. So you got the natural 7 wonders, then you've got the unnatural 7 wonders. So that would be things that were man-made. And then you've got I think the UFC 7 wonders of the world. And one of them would be, why is Andrew McFedries still in the UFC? Anyways, he is fighting Professor X. Professor X is better on the feet. He's stronger. He's faster. He gassed real bad in the last fight, but this fight, gassing is not going to be an issue. They will stand and bang. Really, to be honest, it's whoever lands that first big blow. However, I do believe it will be Professor X for the win in the first round, knockout. Next fight, Chael Sonnen versus Dan Miller. Chael Sonnen, he beat Paulo Filho in one of the strangest fights of all time. He lost to Paulo Filho in a fight where he was winning, and then he got submitted. He came into the UFC recently, fought Damian Maia, a lot of people gave him flack because, why did he go to the ground? Damian Maia threw his ass to the ground. That was not by choice. You know what I mean? It's man, why'd you get knocked out by dude? You can't let him knock you. It's dude, I did not want to get knocked out. But anyways, he got thrown to the ground, judo style. Landed, I forget what it was, but he got landed in a rough situation, and Damian Maia tapped him out. Simple as that. Other than that, Chael Sonnen, he's got a record of 21-10. He's got a wrestling background. Team Quest dude. Enough losses. He lost to Jeremy Horn 3 damn times. You know what I mean? I know he was thinking 3rd time's a charm, and then lost by armbar in the first round. Anyways, lost to Forrest Griffin, lost to Trevor Prangley, lost to Terry Martin, got knocked out, TKO stoppage, lost to Bob Lou. Anyways, he was he fought twice for the WC championship. Lost the first time against Filho, came back the second fight. Filho didn't make weight. I think he came in at 280. And then it was a light heavyweight fight. And then middleweight fight. And then because it was such a bad fight, and because he lost the weight, because Filho came in absolutely out of his mind, he ended up sending him the belt. So I think Chael Sonnen has the belt, even though it wasn't a title fight. Anyways, he's fighting Dan Miller. Dan Miller's definitely a guy to watch. 27 years old. He's been doing his thing for a while. He hasn't lost a fight since 2006. He is 11-1-1. Only fight he lost was to Mike Macenzio back in his 3rd fight. Since then, he beat Jake Roshaw with ease. He beat Rob Kimmin with ease. He was the IFL middleweight champion. He beat Matt Horwick. I do believe he'll win this fight. He's a wrestler. He's fighting out of Sparta. You know what I mean? This is Sparta. You know what I mean? Like, anybody that fights out of a place like that, I'm like, wow. You know what I mean? Like, I know it's a big place, and like lots of people live there, but I'm just saying that's got to give you that extra little fighting out of Sparta. That we will fight, like, it'll be like, our bruise will blot out the sun, and we will fight in the shade. I didn't even like that movie, but they did have some good some quotes. The graphic novel, on the other hand, that was dope. Anyways, Dan Miller will win this fight, I believe. It'll be a 3-round Dan Miller decision, unanimous decision, by the way. Frankie Edgar versus Sean Sherk. Not even going to really get into this one. This is, in my opinion, one of the easiest fights to pick of all time. And when I say that, not between like the really good fighter versus the really bad fighter. I'm talking about two really good fighters. Basically, here's the situation. Frankie Edgar is the somewhat weaker, smaller version of Sean Sherk. Simple as that. Sean Sherk is everything that Frank Edgar is times 2. Frank Edgar is a great fighter, but Sean Sherk is just better. Frank Edgar's got good stand-up. Well, he's got some stand-up. Sean Sherk is better. Frank Edgar's got strength. Sean Sherk is stronger. Frank Edgar's got wrestling. Sean Sherk is better. Everything that Frank does, Sean does better. Like, basically, that's the situation. It's not like it's a really good fighter against a really bad fighter that's easy to pick. Two really good fighters against each other. Just it's like the horrible, worst matchup for Frank Edgar. It would be kind of it would be like, I don't know, anybody who's just a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy in the UFC fighting Damian Maia. And he's like, I'm going to come out and Damian Maia him. You can't Damian Maia. Damian Maia is you. That's how nobody said Damian Maia so many times in a row. All right, undercard. Brock Larson versus Chris Wilson. That's a pretty good fight, actually. In the end, I'm probably going to have to go with... probably really going to go with... Well, I don't know. Probably going to go with Brock Larson. He's got good jiu-jitsu, grappling. He's all-around fighter. 25 wins, 2 losses. I mean, the dude's serious. He's been fighting since 2002. He lost to John Fitch back in 2005. That was his first loss. At that point, he was 12-0 until that fight. And then he went to 21-1 before he lost to Carlos Condit in the second. He hasn't really beat a ton of dudes, but he did beat John Alessio. He beat Keita Nakamura. He beat Ryan McGivern. He actually beat DeMarcus Johnson. And I believe that's the same DeMarcus Johnson that's in the UFC Ultimate Fighter show right now. And it is. Anyways. So yeah, I'm going to pick Brock Larson over Chris Wilson. But it would be a good fight. Patrick Berry, man, they got to show this dude's undercard. I know they don't show the walk-ins, but if you ever look on YouTube, if you have to know who the Techno Viking is. And Patrick Berry does a real good Techno Viking impersonation. And he said that he's going to come out like his intro is going to be legendary. So I have to believe that Patrick Berry is going to come out, Techno Viking. I'm telling you, I think it's going to happen. I don't know if we'll see it because it's on the undercard. Please, UFC people, if Patrick Berry does the Techno Viking intro and comes out and does what I think he's going to do, which is F Tim Hag up, then please show this, man. This guy will have so many fans if he comes out again like bow, beats the hell out of somebody's legs and body. That's what's going to happen, by the way. And then he's going to finish with some punches. But if he comes out with the Techno Viking song and the dance, that's going to be legendary. Legendary. It's like milk made from legend. All right. Felipe Nova versus Kyle Bradley. Felipe Nova, he was definitely the guy everybody thought was going to win. At least that's what they were building it up on that one Ultimate Fighter show. I think Ultimate Fighter, the last one, Ultimate Fighter 42. And he came out and he got owned in the final fight. His wrestling was not where it needed to be, and he got owned. He's fighting Kyle Bradley. I'm going to pick Felipe Nova. Krzysztof Sosinski versus Andre Gusmao. Andre Gusmao, I do believe that he fought John Jones. He's been in IFL. I think I picked Gusmao to beat John Jones too. Anyways, I do believe that Krzysztof Sosinski will take it to the ground and get the win. Yoshiyuka Yoshida's fighting Brandon Wolf. For those who don't remember Brandon Wolf, he is the guy that volunteered to be the grappling dummy for Ben Saunders. Remember, he just put his hands up and said, "Knee the F out of my face." Yoshida should win that fight. And George Roop versus Dave Kaplan. This is the exact reason about why I don't like the UFC's Ultimate Fighter TV show. Because of dumbass stuff like this. Why do I have to watch this fight? I'm going to go Kaplan over Roop. I heard that Rampage is going to be the coach on Ultimate Fighter 10. Come on, guys. Don't make it happen. Please. Please do not hold up the light heavyweight division and Rampage again because of the TV show. Do not do it. See how my voice got different? Do not do it. Do not do this. Do not change up and hold up the light heavyweight division, Rampage, and the title just because of some dumbass show, which I do watch every single week. MMA, y'all, it's important. I gotta go pick up my Ultimate Fighter game. Yes. Undisputed 2009, I will have it in about 3 hours. Peace, y'all. It's important.